Hello everyone, this is a 13 basic yoga pose practice. Our first pose is easy pose, Sukhasana. Position your legs wherever they feel comfortable to you. And then transition into table pose. Hands and knees, and we'll begin to move through some cat-cows. Marjariyasana means cat, and Bittilasana means cow pose. Warming up your spine, notice how this feels. And always remember to listen to your body and listen to your breath, finding variations as you need to. And then widen your knees, sit your hips back towards your heels, and we'll come into child's pose, our third pose here, Balasana. Support your head. If it doesn't quite make it to the mat, you might use your hands or a prop to support your head. Breathe here. Make sure your shoulders are comfortable. Find your variation. Arms might be bent or straight. Few nice full breaths here. And then slowly begin to deepen your breath. And make your way back up out of child's pose. From table pose, come all the way down onto your belly for Sphinx pose. This is the first part of our fourth pose, Salamba Bhujangasana, or supported cobra. So being on the forearms helps this pose be a little more stable and comfortable in shoulders. Lengthen through your spine. Press into the tops of your feet. Gaze softly towards the front of your mat as you press down into your hands and forearms. Draw your heart forward. And then hands under your shoulders, press up into Cobra, Bhujangasana. You might lower down and explore no hand cobra or baby cobra, strengthening the back. Notice how that feels. And then relax into Makrasana, crocodile pose. Support your head on your hands and relax completely. Release all effort and breathe here. This is a wonderful pose to calm the nervous system. And then bring your hands under your shoulders again. Push yourself up through table. Pause. And then tuck your toes. Lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lengthen through your spine. Find any movement here that feels good to you. You might pedal your feet, walking the dog. Draw your belly in slightly as you take your hips up and back and your heart towards your feet. Ground into your hands and fingers as you take your heels towards the earth. Breathe here. Notice how this down dog feels. And then come forward into a plank, lower your knees, and take blocks into each hand. Step your right foot forward and come into a runner's lunge. Make sure the blocks feel stable under your hands. Keep your left hand on the block and inhale your right arm up for a twist to your right. And then lower that right hand down. Make sure the blocks are stable. Step the right foot back, coming into a plank. And then step your left foot forward. Same thing here. Lunge, twist to your left. Make sure the block under your right hand feels stable. Notice any differences between right and left. And then lower that left hand down. Again, thoughtfully step back into plank. And from here, you might step the feet in a little bit and come into another variation for down dog with hands on blocks. Heels going towards the mat, and then walk your feet forward. Come into a halfway lift, long spine, and then a forward fold, Uttanasana. Bend the knees as much as you need to here, and keep your spine long. Release the head and neck if that feels good. And then come up halfway, long spine, hands to hips, and inhale all the way back up. Pause here, coming into Tadasana, mountain pose, our 8th pose in this practice. Ground into your feet, rooting down as you rise up. And then take a wide stance on your mat. Have your blocks handy. Turn your toes out, heels in, bend your knees, bring your hands to your heart for goddess pose, Utthita Konasana. Make sure knees are going in the same direction as your toes. And maybe the arms and goalpost arms for fierce goddess. And then inhale, straighten the arms, straighten the legs, lower the arms, and bring your feet a little wider and parallel, hands on your hips. Exhale, wide leg forward fold, hands onto blocks. Coming into one of my favorite poses, Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. You might have hands on your mat or blocks. Keep your spine long as you hinge from your hip crease. This is a very calming pose, and you can make it even more calming by using blocks, stacking them in whatever position makes sense to you, maybe 2 blocks on the tall setting, resting your forehead on those blocks. You might position the block slightly different, making sure it feels comfortable to you. Variety of ways here. This is very calming to the nervous system when you have your head supported. Just make sure the neck is comfortable and there's no strain. Keep the legs strong and your spine long. And then on your next inhale, come up halfway, left hand stays on the block, and inhale, twist to your right. This is Prasarita Padottanasana, or revolved wide leg forward fold. Again, come up halfway, pause, right hand stays on the block, and then inhale, twist to your left. Notice if one side's easier than the other. And exhale, lower that hand back down. Pause. And then from here, thoughtfully begin to heel toe your feet a little closer together and make your way down onto one knee and then the other, coming down onto your mat. Set your blocks aside and come to a seat with your legs out in front of you, Dandasana, staff pose, just a relaxed transition here. And then bend your right knee, preparing for a seated twist. Take that right foot across your left leg, keep the left leg active. Spine is long, right hand goes behind you, left hand to the outside of that right leg, and exhale, twist to your right. Notice how this feels, using your right hand for support rather than leaning on it. Another breath or two here. And then exhale, unwind, straighten that right leg out. And then when you're ready, bend your left knee. Preparing for a seated twist on the other side, cross that left foot over your right leg. Right leg is active, ankle is active, left hand goes behind you, right hand to the outside of that left leg. Nice long spine. Exhale, twist to your left. Breathe here. And then on your next inhale, unwind. Straighten that left leg, pause. And then sit up on a blanket, bringing the soles of your feet together, a little further away from your hips, and hinge from your hip crease, coming into a bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Hands wherever they make sense to you. You might have them out in front of you. Keep your spine long here. You should feel this in your outer hips, not the knees or your back. You might feel a slight stretch in your back, but there shouldn't be any discomfort. You might also use the blocks, again, maybe angling them to position it to be comfortable for your forehead. So your hands are sort of guiding and positioning and stabilizing the block. This is just an option, but it can be very calming and relaxing, again, to have the head supported. Be sure you don't let the head hang if you're not supporting it. Just keep the neck neutral. And then on an inhale, bring yourself back up. Close your knees like a book. Come off of your blanket. Set it aside, and it is Shavasana time, our final pose. Maybe a blanket over your hips, that can feel really nice. Coming into corpse pose, Shavasana. Invite your whole body to relax. Let your legs be heavy and soft. Release your hips. Relax the whole back. Soften your shoulders and arms. And soften all the muscles in your face, especially around your eyes. And let go. Gently bring your awareness back to being on your mat. Notice your body, notice your breath, and observe your mind. When you feel ready, begin to make small movements, wiggling fingers, toes, whatever would delight you. And when you're ready, bend one knee and then the other, rolling over to one side, pausing there for a moment. And when you're ready, make your way back up to a comfortable seat, maybe keeping your eyes closed. With appreciation for your focus and your efforts, bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that practice. Feel free to put comments down below and remember to subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the mat.